Once upon a time, there was a young lady who lived in a small village. Her name was Chioma. Her father was a well-respected pastor in her village, and because of this, everyone loved Chioma and used her as a standard of measuring a chaste and upright woman. Chioma was a beautiful and promising young lady. She was loved by everyone in her village until the news spread round the village that the Chioma, the pastor's daughter, is pregnant. This came off as a shock to the villagers, and they were so disappointed that Chioma was pregnant out of wedlock. She soon became a topic of mockery in the whole village, and even her father was so disappointed in her for the disgrace she brought him. It happened that she was impregnated by a young man who came from the city and accompanied his friend to Chioma's village. This man took a liking to Chioma and introduced himself to her as Unamdi. Unamdi showered Chioma with love and gifts and promised to marry her. And so, Chioma, obviously blinded by love, believed every word he said. She yielded to his advances and gave him her body. A few weeks after, Chioma discovered that she was pregnant and told Unamdi about it. Unamdi promised to accept responsibility and see her parents as soon as possible. But Chioma was greeted with the shock of her life when she found out that Unamdi had left the village very early in the morning and gone to the city, and abandoning Chioma to her fate. When Chioma found out, she was very sad and almost fell into depression as everyone avoided her, including her parents. But when she gave birth to a bouncing baby boy, the joy of seeing their grandson erased every form of disappointment from her parents. Chioma named her son Chuka. 4 years later, Chioma had started to sell fruits in the village stand. To take care of herself and her son, she had learned to ignore the mockery of the villagers of her and her son. It was during this period she met a young, beautiful lady named Adaku, who later became Chioma's friend. Adaku was Chioma's best friend and gist partner. They were so close that they became inseparable, that everyone talked about their closeness. But one very bad habit that Adaku had was that she was a gossip. Adaku had a licking tongue, and every information that passes through her ears spreads about. Although Chioma did not like this bad habit of hers, but she decided to turn a blind eye and focus on Adaku's good sides. One day, Chioma went to sell her fruits at the market as usual, but noticed that best friend Adaku was absent from her stand. She rushed to Adaku's house, wondering why Adaku was absent at the market. When she got there, she found Adaku lying on her bed, looking ill. Chioma quickly took Adaku to the hospital and paid the medical bills with the little money she had saved up for her son's upcoming birthday. She also promised Adaku she would help her sell her fruit until she recuperates fully and is able to return to the market. Adaku thanked her dearly for being such a good friend. Therefore, Chioma returned to the market and resumed selling both her fruit and that of her friend. But she noticed sales was quite dull, and so it was the next day and the day after. By the third day of Chioma's stay in the market, she was already losing hope and was moody. When she lifted up her gaze to see a young, handsome man standing in front of her, Chioma, he called her. Chioma quickly recognized him. "Unamdi!" she gasped. The father of her son was standing right in front of her, and she couldn't believe it. Nnamdi began to beg and apologize to her for abandoning her the way he did. He begged for her forgiveness and promised to accept responsibility of his son and also marry her. After much pleas from Nnamdi, Chioma eventually forgave him and introduced him to her parents. Nnamdi made his intentions of marrying Chioma known to her parents, and they were overjoyed. Soon, Chioma's wedding preparations began, and it became the talk of the villagers. Meanwhile, Adaku had fully recovered, and Chioma had told her of her upcoming wedding. Deep down, Adaku was envious of Chioma and felt Chioma was undeserving of a colorful wedding when she, Adaku, was still a single lady. Adaku began to devise a plan to scatter Chioma's wedding. One day, she saw Nnamdi sitting in a canteen and walked up to meet him. He immediately recognized her as Chioma's best friend, and so they greeted each other. So you want to marry my friend? Adaku said and hissed before she continued. Let me tell you something. You will be making a grave mistake by marrying Chioma, because Chioma is a bad girl and everyone knows her in the village. Nnamdi was surprised that Adaku would say such a thing against Chioma, but Adaku didn't mind. She continued, See, Nnamdi, let me tell you a secret. That Chioma is hiding from you. Do you know that Chioma had a son from another man who impregnated her some years back and ran away? The boy is currently living in a house now. His name is Chuka. In fact, I know she and her family are hiding this from you. Adaku spilled. Nnamdi looked at her and smiled. Thank you for your advice, Adaku. I am that man that impregnated her some years ago and ran. I am here to marry her now and accept responsibility for my son. Adaku's mouth flew open in utmost surprise. She didn't know Nnamdi was the father of Chioma's son. In fact, Chioma had hid it completely from her. Nnamdi stood up and walked away from her, leaving Adaku wondering with her mouth agape. Unknown to Adaku, Nnamdi had recorded a conversation with him on his phone. By evening, when Nnamdi and Chioma were together, Nnamdi played the recording of Chioma's voice. Chioma was furious that someone she called her best friend would go so far in spoiling her name. From that day henceforth, Chioma distanced herself from Adaku and didn't involve her in her wedding plans. Chioma's wedding to Nnamdi was a very colorful one, with everyone rejoicing with her, except for Adaku, who was absent from her wedding. After the wedding ended, Chioma followed her husband back to the city with her son, where they lived in love, peace, and harmony.